So today we're going to talk about the SLS and the LSC livestock scales. It was the first two livestock scales we come out with in production. So the first part of the presentation is over the SLS, which is the single animal scale. And its main purpose is to be put in an alleyway to weigh one animal at a time to either sort or give medicine to. They give them by the weight. And the gate system is the cattle industry is really probably the first one on the scale industry to be like this. So you can operate both gates from the same side, and most people set the indicator up on the same side, so the whole scale can be operated from one side. We're intapped to a half a pound, and then we can fasting go up to 5,000 pounds, and they're available with the pins and without, so they can order the deck only, which they'll just get the deck, and then they can put their own pins on it if they want. It comes available with a bolt pattern that they can bolt on their own pin if they want to make their own pin. And then the one side operation for the gates, which is easy use for operation. And the stainless steel junction box, and I'll show you a picture of the rain guard here in a minute. And then the load cells are stainless steel also. And then the heavy duty 5/8 rubber mat. They both come with a rubber mat where you get the pins or just the deck only. And then comes in, we'll go over the sizes that it comes in here in a minute. Okay, right here is a picture of a side one. This is a what we call a short one for like lamb and sheep and goats that we built. But this right here is the rain guard. Really the only problem we've ever had with this scale is the first ones didn't have it, and the junction box got water in them. So after we've put the rain guard on, we haven't had no complaints. So if you got a guy that's either removed the rain guard or it's an early sale and he's having problems, we need to offer the rain guard to him to help him, have better reliability on his scale. All the material is 1.5" heavy duty tubing for the cage and the gates. And then we got a 24-inch tall kick panel. The reason we call it kick panel is because the cows will kick them, and the cows don't like not being on solid ground. So as long as they can't see that the scale's moving, they settle down quite a bit. So that's why almost all the scales have a kick panel on them. So there's a box kit, and in the cattle industry, if you go by and see fence that has sheet metal all the way up on it, that's what they call a box kit. If the cattle can't see out, they're only going to go where they can see. So if the customer can't get the filtering down on his indicator, or the cattle don't want to be contained on the scale, then we can offer in the box kit, and therefore the cattle can't see anything because it extends basically the kick panel all the way up to basically the top of the scale. So it makes them be like 4.5 feet tall once you add the box kit onto it, and therefore the cow, the only way it's going to see out is that it climbs, and you can't really climb because it's all slick surface in there. So that's the advantage of that. The gates have a double roller, on top and bottom for ease of operation. So if one roller goes bad, you still got the other roller to operate the gate, so it's just not on that. All the tubing is welded 100% all the way around, so for several reasons. One, for the strength, and two, is to seal it, because you don't want to get the corrosion inside the tubing. And then the latch is on the outside of the scale, so the only person that can operate the latch is the person operating the scale. The cattle can't never get a hold of the latch because it's on the outside. And then if you go back here, the last one talks about this tube and this tube. When the gate's closed, it's encapsulated inside here. So if the cow is to push on the gate, it's going to hit this tube here. So therefore, it's not going anywhere. So they really like that design. So because the cows, the way most people are going to operate this scale is they're going to shut this gate, run the cow in, and then shut this gate, and they're going to want to keep running. So they're going to push against that gate. So the width range now, we redid our instep cert, so So we can go down to 24 inches wide up to 48 inches wide, and go from 36 inches long to 120 inches long. So you can sell them at 2 foot by 3 foot scale if you want. So a lot of like little pigs, they want to, when the animals are small, they want to know how much they're gaining a week or a month, so they know if their recipe of their, make sure they're feeding them, they're getting the most money out of it. So, and then the capacity is 2,500 by half a pound or 5,000 by a pound is the two they're going to come in. And then all models come as a deck only with the rubber mat, and then all models come with the pin. The deck is welded 100% for strength and durability. They actually got a hat channel on the bottom of this deck, different than the other 4 others, to create it more stable. And then the options is we got several indicators we can offer with it. We've got the mobile apps and the printers. So, and then we're going to go. This is the group livestock scale. This scale ranges from 17 feet all the way up to 52.5 feet. So it's made for, you know, when you want to weigh a group of cattle or any type of livestock. One thing that we have done that I believe we're the only scale company that's doing this is this here is a groove crisscross pattern on the scale. This is to ensure a sure footing for the livestock so they don't slip and fall. These grooves are 1.5 inches wide at the top and 1.5 inches deep. So they're not small grooves. They're able to dig their hooves into them and stop slide and then regain their footing. If you go to a lot of feedlots or sale barns, you'll see them where they've grooved concrete with a rake or something to create grooves in them. We just wanted to make ours uniform, so this is the way it looks once we pour. This is actually one that's on the right after we poured it. So I didn't have any pictures of one that was finished. So they're ideal for the stockyards, sale barns, and private farms. You know, there's also nowadays it's a trend to for people what they call a buncher to buy cattle, because if a buncher buys a cattle, you don't have to pay the commission for the sale barn. So they're more of the private farms. You know, can have they'll bunch the cattle up and then haul them straight to the feedlot, so they'll never even see the sale barn. And then capacity up to 30 tons. So if you get the 52.5 feet one, it goes up to 60,000 pounds, so you can load a whole semi-load of cattle on it. You know, the whole thing's factory assembled, complete. And the livestock pins are steel tubing. You got the stainless steel load cell boxes and junction boxes, and all wires are concealed for low maintenance. Just like a lot of our other scales, there's conduit all the way from the load cell all the way to the junction box on these. So you can kind of see it here in the picture. You can't see the wire underneath, but we got a flex conduit coming into this and then rigid conduit going everywhere else. So, okay, the livestock pins, the vertical tubes and the bottom tubes are 3-inch square heavy-duty tubing. The horizontal tubes are 1.5 inches. Kick panels are 24. We, you know, have made them taller when people want them taller. They got 3-inch square tubing for the bows to go across. This bow here, when it goes across, it stables this rack up to where it doesn't flex. So this one's a 17 footer. It's got 3. The next one's got 5. And the next one's got 7 or 8. So double hinge pins. So we got 4 hinge pins on each gate instead of just 2 to make sure that they don't get bent and the gates still operate and shut properly. Ridging in the conduit to provide the sure footing. And then the options, we got the horse riders increase the height from 30 inches, so increases from 80 inches to 110 inches on inside of the scale. A lot of guys still want to ride the horses in on the scale and push the cattle off instead of just open up the gate and let them run off. And then the optional dual latch. So instead of having a single latch, got the dual latch on each end. This is a real common option. I think probably half of the ones we sell they get this option because it's 2 pins are holding the gate shut instead of 1. So, and then you still got the remote displays, and a lot of people get the indicators with the 2.5 inch display, like the 212X indicator, so they have the larger display indicators. So, and then this is what's unique about installing an LSE scale, and this is, I've actually had a call from a dealer, said he's installed a scale 45 minutes from start to finish, from the time the semi arrived till the time it's done. The first steps here is items delivered before delivery scale. They'll get templates for the anchor bolts in the foundation kit. You'll get the templates and the coping angle that's got to go on the foundation that's poured in it. So then you place the templates per the print. We got a layout print for the templates that'll be in the print pack, and you just take marking paint and paint the X's on the templates, and then you drill your holes and epoxy your anchor bolts in. That's all you got to do before the scale gets there once the foundation's poured. Then when the scale gets there, you set the scale down on the foundation, you tighten up all the nuts on the anchor bolts, and then you remove the shipping bracket on all the load cells. Each load cell has a shipping bracket. So, and then you got to wire up the indicator. It's already all the load cells are pre-wired, so they just have to wire up the indicator, and that's it. Now they're ready to calibrate. I mean, it's pretty simple to the truck scale we sell. When the load cells ship with the truck scale already on there, we wanted to make it easy to install, and that was one of the main goals of this. And the dealer that said he's installed it in 45 minutes has sold, I think, 12 or 13 of these scales. So, he really likes the way they get installed. So, common maintenance issues with them is the buildup manure around the load cells and in between the scale, deck, and the foundation, especially in the winter time. You guys get a call about a scale reading weight with nothing on it, it's more than likely they got manure buildup. They haven't cleaned the scale out. I've went out and that's what the scale wouldn't even move because it was packed in so tight. And then setting the digital filtering for the scale. I know some of you guys are already taking calls on that. It's a little bit harder on a group scale because instead of just one cow moving or one livestock moving, you could have 20 moving. So setting the filtering, sometimes you got to go back 2 or 3 times to get the filtering set to where they're happy with it and the way it works. So them are the 2 biggest phone calls that we've taken on it. And then the gate on the LSE, the biggest thing before they can start production on it is we got to have the gate option sheet signed off. There's 4 gate options for the ease of going into an existing operation. Most people already have pins and alleyways set up, and the gate option is more for the end user of how they want the gates to swing, depending on how their alleyway system flows. So sometimes they'll want them both to swing hinge on the same side, sometimes they want them on opposite side. The reason they're 4 basically is the other thing is the dealer one can decide which side he wants the junction box on based on the gate swing. So how the dealer's gonna where the indicator is gonna go, the dealer will want the indicator box on the junction box on one side, and the end user will want the gate swing in certain points. So it kind of takes care of both things on that. So, and then we offer several different indicators that go on these models. Any indicator we sell can go on these models. The most popular ones are the 190, the 225, and the 212X. And then all of them are able to do in the stable sense and the digital filtering. So I know we've worked on that more and more to get better on that. So, you guys got any questions? Yeah, on a group scale, you're going to have to start out, where the divisions are kind of high, kind of like probably like 50 divisions, you know, and then only take a sample, like 3 sample readings a minute or a second. Probably about 100 divisions. The problem, what the end user's not going to like on the filtering is when the cattle are unloading, and he, like, a lot of times when they buy the 17 footer and it's a buncher, they still want to weigh a semi-load, so they're going to have to weigh 2 or 3 weighments to get a semi-load, and they want to get the ones off and push the other ones on, and they got to wait when it gets inside that filtering, when it's going to 0, to go completely to 0. You know, and there's not really no way of stopping that. So, you know, it's a fine line of what they're okay with and what works to get a stable weight, because you can't print until you get a stable weight. So it's, you know, the fine line on that. So that's really where the key is on that. I mean, the single animal is a lot easier, and we do have a spec on that. I wrote it down today. That we can have over in customer service for you guys on the single animal scales, because if you buy the 190 indicator with the single animal scale, it's supposed to come with filtering already preset. But if they buy a different indicator with it, it won't come with it.